Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Do you feel stuck, silent, and stressed? Is something hurting your heart and soul? Are you burning yourself out? If so, you are in the right place because this is the podcast people from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with inner peace and joy. Let's get started. Last episode, I was telling you about how, sometimes we just can find ourselves feeling trapped in this kind of fog that prevents us from having a sense of clarity about where we are in our lives and where we are going. But even in that kind of thick fog, one thing that you can do is just keep moving forward one little step at a time. And one of the really great gifts that we can extract from this kind of experience, this kind of life experience, is the gift of learning to be patient and the gift of learning to be content without becoming complacent and without giving in to our fears. Because it can be so scary to find ourselves stuck in that kind of fog. And as we cultivate patience and as we cultivate this kind of contentment that is grounded in our knowing that we are doing the best we can with what we know and what we have to help ourselves continue to move forward. The process of life, the universe supports us. It really does. And I was giving you that analogy that, there's sometimes there are just places in the world, right, where it's going to get foggy, and it gets foggy there, and maybe because of the environmental conditions in that area, it's just always foggy there. So the only way you can really get out of that fog is to keep taking one step forward and walk yourself out of that area where the fog is present. And so in the context of figuring out and discovering our life meaning and purpose, this is exactly what happens. Is that you have to walk your way out of the foggy area. You're never going to be able to discover your life meaning and purpose by standing still in that foggy place. You need to just start moving forward to walk yourself out of that foggy place. Now, that's exactly what happened with me too, by the way. And the way it happened in my life, the way I experienced it, is here I am, I'm going through my college experience, and I'm taking all these classes, and in being, by the way, one of the biggest reasons why I found college to be a period in my life where I experienced so much growth, so much transformation, was that I didn't just restrict my college experience to learning in the classroom. I was very, very engaged in my classrooms, but I was also very, very engaged outside of my classrooms. And one of the ways that I got engaged outside the classroom was by going out, joining a lot of different student clubs and organizations, getting involved in different projects and campaigns on campus. So as I engaged in all of these things, I kept discovering so much about life and about how the world works and what's going on in the world, and about my own self, what I like, what I don't like, what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are. And all of this learning was essential. Every lesson that I learned in this way was like me taking one step forward and then one step forward and one step forward, walking my way out of that foggy patch. And I finally ended up in this one class. It was actually my very last quarter at UCLA. So I was going to graduate at the end of that quarter. And when I entered that class, I still had not fully narrowed down what I was going to do after I graduated. Like, I was still struggling with that. I had eliminated some of those 7 options that I'd been thinking about, but I still hadn't eliminated all of them. Narrowed down. I still hadn't sufficiently narrowed down things. I didn't have any jobs lined up. I had let the deadlines for applying to graduate school come and go. And so I was really, in this place where I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to do after I graduate or what I should be doing. I still just had a lot of different ideas of what could maybe possible. But this class that I got into my last quarter at UCLA, I took this class. I'd been wanting to take this class for a while, actually, because so many of my friends went through the class, and each and every one of my friends who went through this class came out of it raving about it. They were just like, this is one of the best classes we have ever taken. It's changed my life, and it's just so much fun, and our professor is so awesome, and just like raving about it. And this class was entitled The Most Effective Methods of Social Change, of Creating Social Change. And one thing that I'd definitely become clear about with regards to myself by that point in time was that it doesn't matter what I do in my life, I'm a change maker. That's who I choose to be. I choose to be a change maker. It's so important for me that I'm working to create positive change in the world. So no matter what I do, I need to be doing something that is allowing me to create positive change in the world. So for me to take a class to learn about what are the most effective methods of creating social change actually made a lot of sense. And I was really excited to take the class, especially given all the raving reviews that I had heard from all my friends. So I got into this class finally I was able to take it my last quarter. And oh my gosh, I definitely joined the bandwagon along with all my other friends that had gone through this class and saying, this class changed my life. This class was one of the best classes, most impactful classes in my entire college career. And by the way, I had some really, really great transformational experiences in college. There were some really, really great classes that I took on college that impacted me so many different ways, changed my life for the better in so many different ways. So for me to put this class in that category, in those category of classes, I mean, bar was very high, by the way. This is a very high standard. Wow. So my professor for this class, I'll tell you his name, is Scott Sherman. And I'm telling you his name because Professor Scott, as I love to call him, he actually has, he's no longer teaching anymore as far as I know, because so I was actually one of the very few lucky people who got to learn from him while he was teaching, because pretty soon after I graduated, he also stopped teaching because he opened his own nonprofit organization. It's called the Transformative Action Institute. And basically what they do through the Transformative Action Institute is, you know, the class that I went through at UCLA, they are teaching other people to teach that class. They're teaching other teachers in other universities and colleges and even schools to teach this class. And so at this point in time, actually the last time that I checked in with Professor Scott, over 40 universities all around the United States were teaching this curriculum, teaching this course, including top universities, some Ivy League universities like Stanford. And, you know, the Transformative Action Institute basically is like now focused on that, on training teachers and, you know, how to do this. In fact, after I graduated, I went through one of the trainings at the Transformative Action Institute to learn how to teach this class myself, facilitate this class myself, and it's one of the programs that I now offer through my Academy of Thriving. So as you hear me talk about this class, if you think it's something that could help you, let me know. You know, I'll be happy to take you through the process that I went through myself in this class, and like I said, changed my life. And the way that this particular class changed my life was that it helped me to become clear about my life meaning and purpose. Because this class, set up as a leadership development class, along with you know, teaching us the theory of how to create effective change. So one component of the class was learning the theory of how to create the most effective change. And then the second aspect of this class is to actually help us develop the skills that are required to create the most effective change. And one of the most important things that you need to be able to create the most effective change is to have a clear vision of what you want to create. What kind of change do you want to create in the world? And not only what kind of change you want to create, but how you're going to create it. You see? And turns out there are actually processes that you can go through, that you can take yourself through to help you achieve clarity on what your life meaning and purpose is, what your goals are, what your visions and dreams are, and how you can achieve them. There are processes that you can take yourself through so that you can discover these things about yourself, about your life, much more easily, much more quickly, much more effectively, much more efficiently than if you don't follow these processes. Right? And one of these processes, one of the aspects of these processes, as I have shared with you in earlier episodes, is learning to connect with the visions of our heart, the wisdom of our heart and soul. But there are processes for how do you connect with your heart and soul? How do you connect with and discover the visions and the goals and the dreams that your heart and soul have, and that they want to show you and that they want to communicate with you? And how do you connect with them so that you can see them with enough clarity that you can then develop action plans for how you're going to achieve them? You see? So there are these processes, and they exist, and they've been proven effective. So we don't need to reinvent wheels. We just need to find somebody who's been there, done that, and follow their lead. Learn from them. Do what they did, or model after them. See? I hate reinventing wheels, by the way. So I love to learn from the wisdom of other people. And especially when you have processes like this that have been proven effective for so many people over the course of so many years and years of implementation and application. So I go through this class, I go through all these processes, and the day I finished the class and I was graduating from college, I had complete clarity about what was my life meaning and purpose, and what it would look like when I was living my life meaning and purpose, and what the world would look like when I had achieved my visions, my goals, my dreams, achieved, my own full potential, living as my best self. And even, I had in my hands a blueprint for what I needed to do and how I was going to make those vision, goals, and dreams happen. So, but you know what? It was a process. It's like if I had taken that class, if I had taken that class earlier in my college career, I'm sure I would still have benefited from it. But the visions that I saw, the goals and the dreams that I was able to discover, they would probably not have been the same. Not the same in terms of they wouldn't have been as well developed. And they wouldn't have been as well developed, they would not have been as clear, because they couldn't have been. Because I needed to have learned everything that I had learned up to that point in order to come up with the vision that I did at that point. So if I had taken that class before and gone through that process before, I would have come up with a vision, I would have come up with goals, but it would have been a vision and a goal that could only have come up to the point that included the learning that I had had up to that point, and that included the experiences that I'd had up to that point. Now, because this is true, by the way, about our lives, this kind of process of, when going through these processes of discovering our life meaning, purpose, our vision, goals, and dreams, this is exactly why this is not a process that you can just go through once and then that's it for the rest of your life. No. It's like you go through that process once, you come up with the vision, goals, and dreams that you have, you get the amount of clarity that you get, you start working on it, and then a few months down the road, maybe a year later, 2 years later, you need to stop, you need to pause, and allow yourself to go through the process again and see what's changed, what's evolved, what's different. And in the ways, and you'll see that your vision will have evolved and changed and grown along with you. And this is exactly what I've experienced in my life as well. It's like, so that was the first time I went through that process and I came out with that sense of clarity of, okay, this is my life meaning and purpose and this is how I'm going to live it. But as I actually began to live it, and then I went through that process again later on, sure enough, you see, the visions had grown. The visions in some ways had changed. There were certain parts of the vision that I saw then that are no longer like a part of the vision as I hold it for my life now. And there are other parts that have changed, that have evolved, that have become even grander, even bolder, even more audacious. They're the same in their essence. The vision as a whole is the same in its essence, but it's definitely changed, it's definitely grown in the details and so forth. And it's grown and changed and evolved in the ways that I've grown and changed and evolved. So now, think about this for yourself. What are your vision, goals, and dreams? Don't try to figure out the perfect answer if you don't have a perfect answer. Just what are your vision, goals, and dreams right now? And what is the best next step that you can take? Just the best next step that you can take with what you know and what you have, and start to take that. And hey, if you're finding yourself really stuck, don't struggle there on your own. Connect with me. Go to my website at www.academyofthriving.com. Click on the Contact Us page, and you'll see different options for how you can connect with me. Allow me to help you and support you through the processes of how to connect with your life meaning and purpose and gain more clarity around your life vision, goals, and dreams. It'll make me so happy if I can help you through that process. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead, wrap up right here for today, and wish you lots of peace and joy until we connect next time.